Hello, today we're going to be reading from the Student's Monthly Letter, The Secret Doctrine in the Bible from the Philosophical Research Society, written by Manly P. Hall. And this will help us to gain the secret doctrine in the Bible and understand the Bible from a spiritual perspective. Dear friend, we have already suggested that the story of Adam and Eve, as given in the opening chapters of Genesis, is an allegorical exposition of the cosmic processes which resulted in the differentiation of the human species. It is important to realize that the secret doctrine concealed in the Bible must be discovered with the aid of certain keys. Each of the myths, fables, and symbolic figures has at least seven complete and distinct interpretations. In other words, to open the door that is unveil the secret, the key must be turned seven times in the lock. In the ancient mystery rituals, the key was an important emblem of discovery or enlightenment. Nephites received symbolic keys as a part of their investors. In the Mithranic rites, candidates were taken through seven doors, which they unlocked. And in the Egyptian mystery of the resurrection of the soul, the aspirate was brought to the gate of fulfillment and was interrogated by the keepers of the gates. It may seem strange that one story or account may have several meanings, but such is the work of the Kabbalah. In the original Hebrew, there were numerical and letter ciphers to aid in the decoding of the hidden information. Translation and editing have destroyed the older Kabbalistic patterns, and it is now necessary to have recourse to the fascinating field of comparative religion in order to unlock the biblical secrets. Adam and Eve. As an example, ADM or Adam is, first of all, species or kind, meaning a particular generation or genre. Adam is also a symbol of Adonai, the creating Lord. Adam is also Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. Adam is the incarnating ego, the father of the multitudes. Adam is the human principle, perpetuated forever in the seed. Adam is again protogonos, the ideal or archetypal pattern. Plato's idea or logos. Adam is the universe, whose body nature is, and God the soul. Adam is the first race of humanity, and by analogy, the first subrace of each of the following races. Adam is the son, and also in the story of Garden of Eden, the typical Nephite seeking initiation into the mysteries. This one symbol indeed plays many parts. The first man becomes the figure of all first things. Of the sciences, he is mathematics. Of forms of knowledge, he is pure wisdom. Of religion, he is the esoteric tradition itself. As we develop this subject, we shall try to show you how all of this is true. It is also important to remember that nearly every personality described or discussed in the Bible is primarily a symbol and not a historical individual. It is a great mistake to believe that there is great spiritual virtue in the perpetuation of history or the worship of ancestors. The vir- the virtue lies not in the accepting of sacred writings, but in the discovery and application of the ever living truths secretly hidden in the scriptural books of the world. The creation of Adam is described in Genesis. The creating power formed man of the dust. In Kabbalah, this man is called Adam Kadmon, or the species formed of the red earth. The meaning of red earth in this sense is most obscure, but certainly has no reference to physical soil. In a cosmic sense, the universe is fashioned of a fiery nebula, and the whirling fire mist from which the cosmos was formed is the red earth. The ancient writings that describe the generation of the physical bodies of the animal and the human kingdom declare these vestments, coats of skin, to have been excluded from the auras of the superphysical bodies of a diverse divine race, which dwells in the higher realms, Earth's outer atmosphere. This teaching requires considerable explanation. Man consists of three parts of nature. The first is the divine principle, a spiritual substance identical with spirit and space. The second part is sidereal nature, sometimes called the soul. It constitutes a superphysical body, the luminous chiton, the garments of glory or aura. The third part is the sublimary nature, the objective body, which is several systems muscular, arterial, glandular, the 12 systems of the body, the 12 zodiac, also corresponding with the 12 intelligences of the universe and the 12 cranial nerves. So, all of this, even the Bible, is not only, well, like he said, there's seven different interpretations, seven keys, and the body being one of them. The leaving Egypt being anything below the lower chakras, Egypt, the higher mind, Jerusalem or Israel. and escaping bondage is always going from lower to higher, or ascending to heaven is always going from lower to higher, or Jacob's ladder is always climbing Jacob's ladder up the spine from the lower coccyx up to the divine fornix of the brain. The tomb of resurrection, which is spiritual insight, because humans are the only upright being in nature that walk upright. Man as spirit dwells in the substance of the one, or undivided from the divine principle. In the Bible, the state of identity with the Supreme is expressed by the statement, abiding in Abraham's bosom. This has the same meaning as samadhi or nirvana of the Eastern metaphysicians. At the beginning of the day of manifestation, that great cycle of time figured in Genesis as the 7 days of the formations, the innumerable natures of living things emerge from the original unity, and God becomes the gods, whereas the Kabbalah expressed it. The multitudes emerge from the simple unities. This emergence of the gods is the descent into the state of individualization of living things. The primordial sparks robe themselves in luminous chitons or superphysical bodies. The gods are therefore described as spheres of light, and of this order of beings is man himself inwardly a divine nature, participating in the supreme effulgence. This is explained in the Bible by the placing of spiritual humanity, Adam and Eve, in the paradisial sphere called Eden. Here souls dwelt garmented only in light and truth, the auras yet undefiled by contamination with physical matter. The records of the ancient times are preserved in the mythologies of all classical civilizations. It is beautifully described in the Gnostic hymn of the Robe of Glory, wherein the paradisial state is represented as the homeland or fatherland with which all exiled humanity is seeking. Understand that we fell from our divine nature, the spiritual nature, and tasted death. He who eats of the tree of knowledge of good and evil will taste surely die, because we took on mortal bodies, and mortal bodies help individualize us. Now, when it talks about, see, when the unified one Godhead split into two, mother wisdom, mother love, father wisdom, and they even created seven angelic Elohim beings, male and female. These beings all exist, coexist. The top doesn't lose itself in the bottom. They coexist and emanate from each other, but still exist coincidingly. The emergence of gods and their descent into the state of individualized living things. The primordial sparks robe themselves in luminous chitons, or superphysical bodies, as they descended. This is explained in the Bible by placing of the spiritual humanity, Adam and Eve, in the paradisial sphere called Eden. Here the souls dwelt garmented only in light and truth. Now, this is the bodies that we're here to rediscover. We're here to mold and crystallize the body of truth and light. Of Rudolf Steiner called it the body of fire, fire and air. The higher beings, the higher spirits that we communicate with, are connected with air and fire bodies. They don't have bodies of earth and water. They've transmuted the earthly water aspects of the body into spiritual atoms, and they have gone into and withdrawn into the fire, flaming fire, and wind. And we'll have our flaming scepter, the flaming rod, the flaming sword, which is the spinal column of the superior body, not the physical body. This is explained in the Bible by placing of spiritual humanity in the paradisial sphere. Here, souls dwelt garmented only in light and truth. The records of this ancient times are preserved in mythologies of all classical civilizations. Eden and the angel of the flaming sword. The Adamic being is given dominion over the garden, always a symbol of the astral world. What Eliphas Levi, the transcendentalist, calls the astral or magical light. The same allusion to the garden occurs in the story of Peristfal. Here, Klingsor attempts to delude the Knights of the Grail by creating a magical garden filled with the enchantments of the senses. In some of the ancient books, the universe is called a garden, and the planets and suns are flowers blooming in space. With Adam, the human life wave, abides also the seeds and germs of several other kingdoms. In Genesis, the creating power fashions the animal kingdom. The intellect of Adam, named that is examined and understood all the creations. So Adam named the creation, I mean, he understood them. He was the first one to cognitize them. He's the archetypal man. He's the archetypal being that all of us are cut from the same cloth from, essentially. Taoist dragons of China represent both the psychic forces of the soul and the initiates or sky men. The Indians of the southwest of America have serpent symbols of similar significance, and the Quetzalcoatl or feathered snake at Central America is a symbol of the initiated or the high priest. The Druid priest of Britain and Gaul called themselves serpents, and there are snakes that St. Patrick is said to have driven from Ireland. The reader of the Bible should be acquainted with the facts, for it is only depth of scholarship and breadth of understanding that can interpret correctly the serpent symbol in Genesis. The astral light over which Samael has dominion is the sphere of imagination and desire. In the Kabbalah, it appears that Samael is an adversary, yet in the authorized version, there is no explanation for the existence of the tempting serpent or why the all wise Creator should have placed in the garden to corrupt this noble work. The key to the riddle lies in the metaphysics of the Persians, which in turn was derived from the most ancient religious mysteries of both the Near and Far East. It is explained that good and evil, so called, are but the aspects or qualities of one principle. For example, creation brings into manifestation the innumerable host of lives which lie sleeping in the infinite. In this respect, creation is release or expression and therefore good, but creation also infers certain limits and boundaries being placed upon space. Thus, the very world, which is man's sphere of opportunity, is also his living tomb, and in a sense, therefore, evil or adverse to the luminous inner self that must dwell so long in the feeders of matter. Every action, therefore, of the creating power is described as bringing into manifestation not only a good but an evil spirit or angel as well. And our main purpose here on this earth is to transmute darkness into light, transmute the dark lower nature into light and good. And the Hermetic text and the Emerald Tablets of Thought that says that man's job is to be a sun to this world and to transmute all the darkness into light and to be a guiding star post for those who are seeking and to essentially overcome the death and become spiritually immortal. So join us next time to finish reading this monthly letter from Manly P. Hall as we extract the mysteries of the Bible and the scriptures and help us with our understanding.